Welcome to The Modern Engineer, hosted by Syed Ishad. This show goes beyond surface-level career advice, exploring how senior engineers and technical leaders build leverage, navigate complexity, and position themselves for long-term success.
Welcome to The Modern Engineer. Today I'm joined by Paul Johnston, Senior Software Engineer. And Paul, before we dive in, can you give a little context about what your role looks like today and what you're primarily responsible for?
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff, for having me on the show. So I'm Paul, and I'm a senior software engineer at Microsoft. So one thing I work in a lot is Kubernetes, which is a container orchestrator that's open source, and it's really fun to work with. So my job is to make sure that the containers running on Azure, Microsoft's cloud product, have connectivity. So I work in networking specifically.
Nice, very cool. How did you start out in your career and what has that journey looked like for you? I'm curious because like a lot of people, their first job out of like college or even if they do even go to college, it's not really their dream job most of the time. How did you start out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think to elaborate on my career, I have to go back before I graduated college to when I was looking for an internship because I feel like that's where it all started. That's when the chase began. So when I was a sophomore, I believe, in college, I was looking for internships. And I remember having a really tough time landing any. Like I interviewed a lot. I was practicing, I didn't practice leak code too much, but at the time I just applied anyways and was like, let me see what happens. It was my first year, I think, in computer science or second year. So yeah, that summer I didn't get an internship, which was a big bummer. But what I did instead was I applied to be a web developer on campus at my college for like the history department, and I got the job. So that was kind of my first ever real job in computer science was being a web developer at my history department. And that was really fun. It actually gave me a lot of good experience that I needed to put on my resume and whatever for the next summer go around when I applied to internships again, basically anywhere. And that was a better summer for sure. I got more offers and I was like way more excited to be able to have options. So I even applied to Microsoft as an intern. I didn't get it, which is funny because now I work here. But the thing that happened was I like got an internship offer in the Bay Area in Livermore, California at a national research lab, which was really fun for the summer. And basically that helped me just kind of apply again for full-time jobs the next summer. And I did hear back from Microsoft that time. And I felt super grateful, lucky to get it because I had not heard back at all the previous 2 years. And yeah, I guess my advice is, just keep trying. Don't give up, even if it takes years. It took me years to get to where I am. So, and I feel really lucky to have the job I have. It's really nice. I like who I work with. I like the product I work on, and a really great team and a really great company to work for.
Very awesome. You actually touched on my next question, which was what was some of the challenges you faced? And that's awesome. You just answered it. The first time summer it didn't go well, but then you took on that position with the history department, and then that really created the stepping stones for you to finally get to your current role today, Microsoft. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What was the pivotal moment that changed your career trajectory? Because now you're a senior software engineer. You're pretty high on the total poem. Was it a project? Was it like a customer meeting? Was it a presentation? What really catapulted your career?
That's a great question. So, one of the things for sure was I got lucky in that I joined a team that was just starting out. Like I was number six or number seven on that team. And we were all kind of new, figuring out the product we were working on. At the time, this was like 2020, before the pandemic, just before the pandemic. Containers were very popular, but Microsoft hadn't yet like adopted products revolving around the containers yet. So that's kind of, I just happened to land on this really great team that was starting out to build a ton of new features in Microsoft. And so partly was, yeah, getting set up right, which was nice. But then also, of course, just like grinding it out. And like, I don't think it was necessarily like late nights and stuff. Like, it wasn't, oh, I was working 12 hours a day or whatever, but it was more like for those 8 hours of that day, like I was engaged, like I was locked in and like figuring things out. And especially as a new grad, that was overwhelming because I had no idea how Microsoft worked and even just any full-time job like corporate setting and how there are so many people and like so many different products to understand. So first year or two was rough. Like I remember feeling like super confused a lot, trying to understand how things worked. But eventually, I saw some pain points in the team or like how we were doing things basically. Like, how would we develop our code? How would we test it and ship it out? And just like steps along that path that were difficult. And my main goal was to just like make those easy. I was like, okay, let's make this simple for ourselves. I don't know, make some kind of automation thingy to ease our pain, or when there were problems in production, how do I built tools to like get us more information faster whenever there was a problem. So I think those two things, like making lives easier for not only yourself but your teammates, as well as like when there are problems from your service or whatever, just like seeking out ways beforehand to like make your life easier yet again when you're debugging these issues, and you're on call or whatever. You don't want to be confused. At that point, you want to have something ready. So I think those two things were kind of like the main selling points for me to like be able to get promoted and stuff and just keep delivering those. And also kind of like not being ashamed to like say like, hey, I built this thing, and here's what it does, and like this is how it saves us time, and like it's good to be able to tell other people that, and not in like a bragging way, but more just an honest way. Hey, this is what I've done, because then basically your leaders will have to go tell their leaders about what you've done too, and if you give them a big picture and like a detailed picture of what you've been doing, they can better get you promoted and stuff. So that's one thing that also helped was just writing things down and presenting them and like having copies to give to people or whatever so that they could understand it too.
Very creative. So extend a helping hand for sure.
Yeah.
Extend a helping hand. Um, what changed after this pivot? What do you have more of? What do you have less of? For example, after this pivot, did you gain more recognition? Are you leading a team? Um, you must have gotten promoted. What changed after this pivot?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm not leading a team yet. Hopefully one day, and that'd be cool. But for sure, something that's like more important to me now as a senior is like when there are problems and stuff. I don't ask myself as much like, is it my problem? It's more like I'll go figure something out, or I'll go help as much as I can. So that's definitely like just like a mindset switch of not ignoring things as much and like kind of being more involved. But it's nice too when you stick around on the same team for a while, you do just learn more about how things work. So problems that used to scare you are not as daunting anymore. You understand how things work, you know where to go, to who to ask, who to talk to. So that's nice. And one of my suggestions, I guess, for like new engineers starting out is like finding good mentors is like more important than like a job because you really will value those lessons more than just like the title or like the company. And ultimately, that's what you take with you no matter where you go. Like your problem solving skills, your communication skills, all that kind of thing. If you can practice those skills, no matter what, you're going to take that with you. And it's helpful no matter where you are, right? So yeah, I think now as like a senior, I just try to like be helpful and to reuse stuff that I've already learned or built and just sort of like compound interest things, like never really starting from zero all over again, but and just helping other people like making tools. I think like making tools is like a really important thing for yeah, just like now as a senior, just like sharing those tools with others.
That's great advice. Definitely lean on the mentors. That's really good advice. How does someone listening, and you touched on this a little bit already, how does someone listening achieve your level of success? I heard some good answers like, ask questions, be a team player, lean on the mentors. You have anything else to add to that?
Let me think. Definitely finding a good manager. That's like one big thing about when you're starting out is like be loyal because when you're first starting out, like yeah, be humble and just like learn whatever you can about this team, this person, this product, and like really try to just like help because ultimately that's what they need. Like my kind of motto or something was like try and make my manager's job like easier, try and like alleviate the pain, the burden that they have to go through because they do manage a lot of things. And so if you're there to help, that's just a good thing in general. But yeah, that would help you a lot in like getting promoted or like getting noticed or just like having a better career in general, I would say.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like things are going well for you professionally. And when people reach a certain level of success or even in their career, they start thinking intentionally about the future, things like flexibility, optionality, or even passive income to already complement what they're already doing. Have you thought about any of that?
Yeah, it's a really good question, actually. Like last year, the year before that, when I was a software engineer too, something that I was trying out for fun, just kind of on my own, was like coaching. So maybe you've heard of a platform called Leland. It's like one where you can, if you're studying for an exam or something, or getting ready to apply to like business school, or in my case, like software engineering jobs and whatnot, you can like hire someone to help coach you, like basically give you practice problems to do, like meet with you every so often and sort of just make sure you're ready for the big day whenever it comes. So that was something I was doing for fun, is just like coaching and like making YouTube videos as well. I have a YouTube channel that you can check it out. And it was just really fun. I did a master's degree on the side, just like at nighttime from Georgia Tech, just online. And so basically, all these things that I was doing outside of work were just kind of to widen my horizon or whatever, and like kind of yeah, gain some skills in coaching, gain some skills in media or writing or teaching and stuff like that. Those are really fun things to do. And so it's fun to like gain these hobbies, and especially if they pay, that's great too. But even if they don't, I mean, it's still fun to try them out. I definitely did not make any money on YouTube for like a year or so. No, it's $0, like negative dollars, in fact. But yeah, eventually you can break through, and then it becomes really fun. It's like a hobby that you're passionate about, and if it's bringing other income in, that's great too. But like, yeah, it's definitely fun to just connect with others as well, like outside of your work circle and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's really a fun thing. Like this podcast. Yes, yeah, this is great. I think you're doing a really awesome job with getting people to chat and share experiences and stuff because it really is like a lot of people are interested in this sort of thing. And so definitely finding something you can do like a blog, or maybe you're interested in like a video game, developing it or anything like that. Like just try it out, have fun, and like, think about ways. Yeah, I would suggest keep things cheap, to start out. Don't make it too stressful for yourself. Piling up the bills is never fun. So just try and keep things low cost or whatever, but still having fun, still building stuff. And from there, yeah, you'll have like lots of ideas. I think they just kind of keep growing from there.
I'm glad you touched on that. In the first year, when you start something, you may not make money, but you just do it for the passion of it, do it for the passion, and eventually the money will follow. But the key in the beginning is not the money, it's the passion.
Right.
Eventually the money will flow.
Exactly.
Well, if someone listening is earlier in their career but on a similar path, what is something you really wish you knew sooner in your career?
That's a great question. I think something I wish I had known sooner in my career is like to focus less on the technology and like more on the people, because at the end of the day, the people who use your product or whatever, they're just human beings. So when you really understand how people think and what do people need in their jobs, in their lives, that makes the technology come easier. You'll understand better why we're doing this, why we're doing that, and you'll kind of be able to. I would say that like people skills are honestly a really important thing, even for software engineers. I know software engineers are typically like very introvert or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's a great thing to just sort of be willing to talk, be willing to ask questions, be willing to look like you don't know something. Like it's okay not to know how everything works. That would be ridiculous, right? So definitely trying to just like focus a little bit on the human computing part, like the human computer interaction. That's what I would say is like that's really important to focus on. and like more so than just like technical stuff. Like technical details are important as well. But yeah, it's amazing how much a conversation sometimes can like steer you in the right direction rather than wasting a lot of time on your own doing something that wasn't actually going to be useful or whatever. It's a good thing to kind of like chat first. It's going to save you time.
That's an awesome pro tip because I've heard the saying engineers would rather talk to like a machine or something
Yeah.
rather than a human. But it should be the opposite because, talking to the human can accelerate solving that problem in many ways.
Exactly.
Very good. Well, let's give a shout out to your YouTube. What is your YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure. It's called Coolster Codes. It's a
Holster
blue
Codes.
icon. Yeah, Coolster Codes, that's the name. It's also my blog. I first started out as a blog just because I found some topics that I was figuring out at work that like I had not found anywhere that I was super, they were complicated things. And I was like, maybe I should just make like a tutorial video or something about this. And like that's how it started out, Coolster Codes. So yeah, now there's YouTube with it, which has like videos about Georgia Tech, where I did my master's. It has some programming tutorials. It has some silly videos too, which, hit or miss on that. But yeah, they're fun to make.
Awesome. Check out Coolster Codes. Well, Paul, I really appreciate you sharing your perspective today. I feel like the audience has a lot to take back off this interview. And thanks for listening to The Modern Engineer. I'll see you in the next episode.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sid.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Modern Engineer with Syed Ishad. If this episode resonated, make sure to subscribe and share it with others. And if you bring a unique perspective on leverage and long-term positioning, you can learn more about being considered for the show in the links below.